Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay, January 17th, Tennessee, 647. Ladies and gentlemen, I told my VIP, look, to win, focus on my top 5, 3 digits, which I promise the first 2 big money patterns will manifest from 116 to 124. This was delivered on 117. I promised that would be delivered straight. I told my VIP that I don't practice this, but in most cases, I can make it happen in 24 to 48 hours. Nobody's paying attention to that. Ladies and gentlemen, 957, ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP, look, you can see to win, focus on my top 5, 3 digits, which I promise the first 2 big money patterns will manifest from 19 to 117. Yesterday was 117. So I met my deadline date, and ladies and gentlemen, this was for Texas. So if you were just running Texas numbers for Texas, you won. Ladies and gentlemen, 1097. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 hours before it debuted, I told my VIP, look, I guarantee you will see this happen. Between the dates 116 and 124 in Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I promise the very last number you see would manifest first. Between the dates 112 and 119, this happened yesterday, 117. Ladies and gentlemen, 225. Ladies and gentlemen, 22 hours before it debuted, I told my VIP, look, the very last number you see, I can make it manifest first. Straight! You see it for yourself. On 116, I told them to invest in the best. I am the best. Ladies and gentlemen, 361. Ladies and gentlemen, I triple dollar signed that big money pattern for Ohio. Told my VIP, you will see this happen between the dates 112 and 119. Ladies and gentlemen, every now and then, I will show off. And as you can see, 15 hours before the number debuted, I guaranteed you would see it drop in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, 9192, one of my favorites. Ladies and gentlemen, the black sheep on time to manifest. As you can see, 112 to 120. Yesterday was 117. Ladies and gentlemen, every now and then and again, I will show off. As you can see, I told you the black sheep will not lie. Between the dates 115 and 123. Ladies and gentlemen, 514. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP that I could manifest 514 with my number one number, same day. Well, actually, I told him on the 16th that this would happen on the 17th. And I told my VIP that I don't practice this, but guess what? In most cases, I am powerful enough to make it fucking happen. You see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 0375. Ladies and gentlemen, my number one motherfucking big money pattern. I told you to win. Focus on my top 5. You see it right there for yourself, which I promise the first 2 will manifest 112 to 119 in Florida. Here I go showing off, ladies and gentlemen, 8 hours before the number dropped. I told my VIP, look, due diligence is telling me, look, nobody is going to be wagering, playing, running, investing in this combination. You will do well in the black sheep. Black sheep don't lie. They are underdogs. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, 414. Ladies and gentlemen, black sheep on time, 414 straight. I told my VIP, nobody will be investing in 414. Between the dates 115 and 124, they dropped 414 straight. Here I go showing off, ladies and gentlemen. I promise my VIP. Look, the very last number you see is a strategic formula that I developed. And as you can see, boom, boom, boom. Between the dates 115 and 123, I told my VIP, you will see me make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, 901. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP, look, to win, focus on my top 5 3 digits, which I promise the first 2 big money patterns will manifest from 116 to 124. I also guaranteed you would see it drop in Tennessee. It did that in less than 24 to 48 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, 860. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP that I could make manifest 860. I triple dollar signed it, promising its debut in Tennessee between the dates 116 and 124. Straight! Ladies and gentlemen, I like to show off every now and then and again. I promise my VIP with due diligence, my number one motherfucking big money pattern would manifest straight in Tennessee between the dates 19 and 117. 117 being the deadline date as proof that I am from the future, bringing you the future real time. You see it for yourself. 9615. Ladies and gentlemen, my only motherfucking big money pattern on fire. A 5-year-old can pick out fire. I said you would see it on 117. How can you miss? How can you fucking miss? I'll tell you, not paying attention, not believing. There you go. 8132. Only 12 motherfucking hours. And I told my VIP, I guarantee you will see me manifest this particular big money pattern. Between the dates, on 117, on 117. Y'all see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 0217. Ladies and gentlemen, again and again, my only motherfucking big money pattern on fire will manifest. You see it for yourself. Between the dates 113 and 120, it dropped on 117. Ladies and gentlemen, 501. Ladies and gentlemen, I guaranteed you would see The number 3 big money pattern, 1, 2, 3. You see it for yourself, guaranteed to manifest between the dates 113 and 120. Ladies and gentlemen, 992. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP, the only motherfucking big money pattern on fire would manifest straight between the dates 115 and 122. Ladies and gentlemen, you got that 6587. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP for Florida. And this was from Florida. You see it for yourself. I told my VIP, if you want to win, focus on my top 5, 4 digits. I promise the first 2 will manifest 114 to 121 in Florida. That was a Florida prediction. And anytime you want me to show you proof, just tell me. I need to see proof. And I will show you further proof. But until then, let's just keep winning. Ladies and gentlemen, 406. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise to manifest on 117, 406 straight. Y'all see it for yourself in Florida. And I did that in less than 24 to 48 hours. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, 594. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP that I could make the number 1 manifest straight. Woo! Y'all see it for yourself. On 114, I told them, look, you will see this by 121. It dropped on 117. Straight! Ladies and gentlemen, 7192. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP on 117 you would see 7291 big money pattern. Y'all see it for yourself. I don't play when it comes to numbers. Numbers don't play when it comes to me. Ladies and gentlemen, 5540. Ladies and gentlemen, the black sheep on time to manifest 117. I gave the indication that no one would be investing, playing, or running, or even thinking about that combination. Ladies and gentlemen, 1680. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP, the very last motherfucking number you see, I would make it manifest first. And I did that between the dates 113 and 120. Ladies and gentlemen, 158. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP that I would make manifest 158 straight. I indicated it with the triple dollar signs, which I promise and I guarantee same date. Well, I gave it to him on the 16th, told him to start investing on the 17th. You would do well. You see it for yourself straight. Ladies and gentlemen, 094. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 motherfucking big money pattern. Straight. You see it for yourself. 115 to 122. I told my VIP, you know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, 124. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised my VIP 124 would manifest straight between the dates 115 and 123. You see it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, 193. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise 193 would manifest straight. You see it for yourself. And that was for Texas, You see it for yourself. 117, I told them you would do well. Ladies and gentlemen, 994. Ladies and gentlemen, my only motherfucking big money pattern on fire. A 5-year-old can pick out fire. In Texas, promised. Between 111 and 119, it arrived on 117. Straight! Ladies and gentlemen, 0953. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP that I work hard as fuck to get this. This is not luck. You see it for yourself. To win, focus on my top 4 digits, which I promise the first 2 will manifest between, look at that, 117, 0953, straight. Boom, boom, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, 1243. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise my VIP that I work extremely fucking hard to make sure they will win. And you see it for yourself. Between the dates 110, 118, I told them it would manifest. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I show you every single day that what I do is real, the laws of probability, the laws of randomness, the laws of statistics, energy, frequency, and vibration. This is quantum physics at its best, and I am the best at what I do. Again, if you want to stop fucking around and join a winning team, here I am right there. But you do have to tell me what my prerequisite is. I told you exactly what it was on every prediction. So if you didn't catch it, you got to go back and watch the videos, because you can't join and think I'm just going to let you be sitting in my crew. No. This is where you start winning, by investing in the number 1, the number 2, the fire, and triple dollar signs. So I will see everybody at the winner's table no matter what. And when I say no matter what, I prove it every single day. Y'all seen how many times I called out a number straight. Y'all saw how many times I predicted it in the number 1 position. I predicted the only motherfucking number on fire. I gave the indication that my triple dollar signs will manifest. I even go a step further and tell you what numbers nobody will be investing in. That's how good I am. So again, when you want to stop fucking around and losing money every single day, I'm telling you, the number 1, the number 2, the fire, and the triple dollar signs will be all you need. And I will see you at the winner's table no matter what. So we all have this ability, but because of what we eat, what we consume, and it's not by what you just shove down your throat. It's what you allow your eyes to see, what you allow your ears to hear, and what you allow your fingers to touch. And it goes a step further as to what you allow to fucking touch you. So again, the diet that they have prescribed to you is not your diet. It's not. But you can keep eating it and keep cheating yourself. You can keep brushing your teeth and killing your vision. When you brush your teeth, you're brushing your teeth with waste. So again, I don't guess or stress what the lottery's going to be. The energy, frequency, and vibration tells me everything about you and about the universe. I'm not hoping and I'm not praying on what the lottery is going to be. Not when I already know. I'm not even saying it might come. I'm not saying it may come. I definitely am not saying that I think it will come. All I do is promise and guarantee what I know will happen. Why? Because it has already happened. See, you are a multi-dimensional being, but you're stuck in one dimension. You keep watching the crystal ball. The crystal ball is your television set. That's your modern day crystal ball. It shows you the future every single fucking day. Y'all been watching it since they laid Jetsons out on y'all ass. And you still want to fuck around and not believe the truth. The truth is right before your fucking eyes. They didn't put you on zombie training for 20 motherfucking years. And y'all ain't even taking notice. Y'all ain't went out and bought no motherfucking sword. I got 3 or 4 of them bitches laying around. I got one in my vehicle. Yeah, I'm fucking ready. Y'all don't believe it? Y'all didn't watch I Am Legend? Yeah, watch it again before they take it off. Watch it from the beginning and see which started that shit. Watch it to the end. Yeah. So again, when I tell you that something's going to happen and you don't believe me, that means that you don't receive the information ahead of time. That means that you just said, fuck your life. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. What is that terminology y'all use here on this plane of existence? It is what it is. That's a lame ass cop out. Because I'm going to tell you what it fucking ain't. It's not a reality. You create your reality. But that's whole nother conversation, I guess. So again, number 1, number 2, number 1 in fire, number 1 and the first best alternate, which is a $$. It's the first $$. I'm letting out keys, but y'all not listening to me. And there's a few of you who listen very well. And I appreciate the love, the tips, the gifts, and I reciprocate that love. I surely do. I'm going to see everybody at the winner's table no matter what. Abundant prosperity in health and in wealth to all who follow me and believe in the hard work that you see me accomplishing every single day without fail. And I will not fail. I cannot fail. And I shall not fail. And if you're part of my crew, you won't fail either. And that goes especially if you are following my simple winning instructions that a 5-year-old can do.